you ever stopped to think about how many characters live in Bluey's world? I know that, since it's a family show, it can be difficult to assimilate who's related to who. So don't worry, that's why I'm here. Because starting today, we're going to show you exactly what's the Hellers family tree like, starting with our favorite dad, Bandit. Every dad has his own mom and dad, and with Bandit, Healer is no different. Grandpa Bob, or Baba, as the kids sometimes call him, is Bandit's dad. He is retired and lives with Nana Chris at an apartment on the Gold Coast. He enjoys going to the beach and acting silly around the house. Baba can be forgetful sometimes, and in the 80s flashback episode Fairy Tale, he struggles with the kids' names still. Baba is a fun grandpa and can floss with the best of them. After a pilgrimage of self-discovery to India, Baba reunites with the rest of the Healer family at the wedding of Uncle Rad and Frisky, having finally found himself. Nana is Bluey and Bingo's grandmother, and the mother of Bandit, Rad and Stripe. Nana Chris and Grandpa Bob have 3 sons, Radley, Bandit, and Stripe, and 4 grandkids, Bluey, Bingo, Muffin, and Socks. Nana has one rule at her house: everyone gets what they want. This usually means the grandkids eat an unruly amount of ice pops. Although her methods can sometimes seem outdated, they get the job done and are always in the family's best interests. Nana loves telling jokes, cooking lovely roast dinners, and she even learned the floss dance from Bluey. You know what time it is. Get your popcorn and a beverage ready, because today we're taking a look at the entire Bandit's family tree here on Zigzag. Uncle Rad is Frisky's husband, and he's the wild and woolly older brother of Bandit and Stripe, and Bluey and Bingo's uncle. He used to work on an oil rig far away from the Healer's home, so he didn't get to visit his family as often as he'd like. When he did, he'd drop by. He'd make up for lost time by telling them amazing stories and taking part in wild, playful, and fun games. Nowadays, he's a family man who's staying put in Brisbane. When Bandit arranged for his brother to babysit, Uncle Rad met Bluey's godmother, Frisky, who had also been enlisted to look after the kids. The two discovered they had a few things in common. Their love of nut-based hair products seems to have bonded them forever, as Rad eventually asked Frisky to be his wife. And the rest is, as they say, history. Not only for the Bluey universe, but also for the history of television, since The Sign was one of the most impressive recent creative achievements we had the pleasure to witness. Since him and Frisky are newlyweds, they don't have puppies of their own just yet. Future seasons will tell what became of them as a couple. If you also fell in love with Rad and Frisky during this journey, let us know your reaction to them using the hashtag #wedding down below. We can't talk about Bandit's family tree without talking about him. The dog, the myth, the legend, Bandit Healer. He is an archaeologist who loves to dig up bones, and he does his best to use whatever energy is left after interrupted sleep, work, and household chores to invent and play games with his 2 little girls. He loves his wife Chilli and his girls, and does his best to keep up with Bluey and Bingo's games, whether that means dressing up, becoming a robot, or surviving an attack from the tickle crabs. He loves being a dad, but still tries to keep an eye on the cricket scores and go out for the odd surf. Bandit has many alter egos too, but none more notorious than the cheeky unicorse. His wife, who's also Bluey and Bingo's mom, is Chilli. She's really good at teaching her girls about the world and how to navigate its challenges. She needs to remain level-headed when the Healer house gets out of control or caught up in a new game, mostly because of her husband. But Mom can also be just as silly as Dad when it comes to playtime, and she loves dancing around the house to her favorite song. She often has a wry comment or a wise word for her kids, but she's just as comfortable throwing herself into a game with them, and she's always able to see the humorous side of her and Bandit's missteps. When she's not with Bingo, Bluey, or Bandit, Chilli loves playing hockey, going on little adventures, and spending time with Aunt Trixie and Frisky. Their kids are obviously Bluey and Bingo, and thus they became the Healer household as we learned to know and love all of them. Stripe is Bluey and Bingo's uncle and the younger brother of Bandit and Rad. He loves squash, his car, and a good old-fashioned stump fest. But more than anything, Stripe loves a BBQ and, if his apron is to be believed, he's the world's best chef. Stripe can get a bit carried away sometimes at parties and family events, but it's always good fun. Stripe loves his wife, Trixie, and their 2 daughters, Muffin and Socks. He loves playing with his kids too, but from time to time he can struggle to control them. But he's learning. As said earlier, Trixie is Bluey, and Bingo's aunt, and Muffin and Socks' mom. The kids love Aunt Trixie. She's fun to be around because she's able to speak her mind and is good at teasing some of the other grown-ups too. But sometimes, Trixie has trouble controlling herself, especially when someone opens a bag of chips. Trixie joins in the kids' games too, and even performs funny characters like the wise old wolfhound. When she finds the time, Trixie likes to play hockey with Chilli and spend time with her husband. Her and Stripe are always getting on each other's nerves, and sometimes it's wholesome, and they manage to find common ground, like in the episode Perfect. And other times, it's a little more serious. So serious that their puppy Socks thinks it's so normal that she incorporates in her own make-believe with her toys. Like that scene of The Sign. One good thing we can all incorporate is to smash that like button and destroy that notification bell to make sure to never miss our uploads. Bluey is an inexhaustible blue heeler puppy who lives with Chilli, Bandit, and her little sister, Bingo. She likes to laugh and have fun, but more than anything else, she loves to play games with her family. Bluey takes the everyday events of her family's life and transforms them into extraordinary adventures. Es más really, sambai tray, atay, and whether it's a taxi driver, hotel manager, or a mermaid, she loves to pretend she's a grown-up doing grown-up things herself. Bluey is endlessly curious too. Even when she's nervous about trying something new, like walking to the creek or going to the movies, she always discovers something wonderful about the big, wide world around her. The most important thing in Bluey's life is her family and friends, and she loves to share her new games, songs, and wild adventures with them. This would be the last stop on Bandit's family tree. But since the last episode of Season 3, we now know that Bluey will eventually be a mum just like Chilli. And while we don't know if the father's Mackenzie or Jean-Luc, we do know that her puppy is just as energetic as she was during her prime years, and that we're naming him Roxy for now. Because, I don't know, he gives Roxy vibes, don't you think? And it's a good name, since it's also on the trend of keeping them all with real dog names, and it works for both boys and girls. And last, but not least, we have Bandit's last puppy, Bingo. Bingo is a little ball of energy. She's kind, curious, determined, and loves to laugh. More than anything, she loves diving into pretend games with her big sister, Bluey, their friends, and family. Whether she's imagining herself as Snowdrop, Tap Girl, or a fluttering butterfly, her creativity knows no bounds. While Bingo occasionally drifts into her own little world, she deeply treasures her moments playing with Bluey. At times, keeping up with her sister's games can be a bit challenging, but Bingo finds her way through. Bingo loves new discoveries and often finds herself captivated by the small wonders of the world, like a blooming flower or a tiny insect making its way across a leaf. She might occasionally lose track of time, but she's very good at living in the moment and being present with her family. So far, the show hasn't hinted at anything about her future love life or to who she becomes a mum of. But we know that she'll be lifelong friends with Lila, or at least until they graduate from college. Who knows? Maybe the upcoming Bluey movie sheds some light into this, yet another mystery we seems to have, right? Let us know what you think in the comments down below.